Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. We're going to explore how three pretty chilling real-world events completely expose the hidden vulnerabilities of modern student life. We often go about our daily routines thinking everything is safe, predictable, and fully under our own control. But what actually happens when the mundane defenses we rely on completely fail us?
Imagine coming home to your supposedly safe apartment, locking the deadbolt behind you, and then looking down to find those three words, "I see you," slipped right under your door. Today, we're breaking down the escalating threats that exist in our social, physical, and digital spaces, taking a hard look at how easily the illusion of security can be shattered by a single misstep.
Part 1. The Modern Student Nightmare, a study in escalating threats.
Part 2. The social threat. We'll call this one the bizarre party. So, our first case study starts out innocently enough. Three friends drive about an hour off campus to a house party. They pregame a bit outside, totally expecting a typical loud, rowdy college night with trap music and casual clothes. But what they actually walk into is completely bizarre. The house is flooded with these super bright overhead lights, and the guests? They're dressed up like they're at a formal dinner party. The music is just this ethereal, entirely instrumental, almost druggy sound with zero lyrics, and everyone is just kind of sizing them up.
Despite these incredibly weird vibes, they start chatting with some people. But here is where the crucial detail drops. The guy telling the story is talking to a girl named Tina, and he spots this identical, highly unnatural, solid green line drawn right across her neck, like drawn in Sharpie. He tries to brush it off, maybe it's weird makeup, until he goes to the restroom, bumps into this very tall, older-looking guy, and right there on the guy's neck, the exact same solid green line.
He asks the guy what his problem is. The older man just smirks and asks, "Who invited you?" The narrator nervously blurts out Tina's name. The guy chuckles, his smile drops completely dead, and he coldly asks if the narrator actually sees that girl anywhere in the house. That chilling confrontation right there in the bathroom totally shatters the illusion. They instantly realize they absolutely do not belong at this party.
Now, this is a terrifying lesson in trusting your gut. The guy starts frantically checking the other guests and spots two more people with that exact same green line. He finally tracks down his friends Ian and Bryson to get the heck out of there, and makes a horrifying discovery. His friends suddenly have red lines drawn on their necks. He practically screams at them, drags them out the door, and the very second they run to their car, the girls they were with start blowing up their phones asking why they left. They weren't even in the room. It just proves the boys were being closely watched the entire time.
So, what would have actually happened if they hadn't left that house? Were they being marked as targets? It's a terrifying thought. But the key here is they had the power to literally run away. What happens when you can't just run? Well, that escalates us to a physical threat that follows you right into your home.
Part 3. The physical breach. Starting with a stolen backpack. Let's track the terrifying progression for this civil engineering grad student at Purdue. Day 1. He makes a simple mistake. He leaves his backpack unattended on a lecture hall table just to run to the bathroom, and boom, his laptop, wallet, and apartment keys are stolen. It's a massive headache for sure, but it feels like standard campus theft, right? Well, days later, the real nightmare kicks in. It goes from a stolen bag to creepy notes under his door. Then the flash of a camera outside his window at night, and eventually he comes home in the daytime to find his entire apartment completely torn apart.
The intruder clearly used the stolen laptop to find out exactly where he lived and used his keys to bypass the building's outer doors. Just imagine the absolute horror. You lock your deadbolt, you think you're safe, and then you find these cryptic, handwritten notes slipped right inside your apartment. I know what you did. Watch yourself.
This whole situation really exposes the terrifying physical vulnerability of renting. He finds his place ransacked, so he calls the cops. But because the intruder used his own stolen keys, there is zero forced entry. The police basically tell him their hands are tied. So he begs his landlord to change the locks, but the landlord refuses, says it'll take 2 days and it's not an emergency. So with a landlord who won't help and police who can't act, he is entirely unprotected in his own home. Absolute desperation sets in. The student skips all of his classes and just barricades himself inside. Then he realizes, wait, the stalker has my laptop, so they know my class schedule. He decides to use that exact schedule to set an ambush in his own apartment, literally hiding, ready to attack whoever walks through that door while he supposedly is in class. It really makes you ask, how safe is a locked door if a total stranger holds the key? This physical breach is incredibly claustrophobic, proving how losing a simple set of keys can dismantle your entire sense of safety. But our final story reveals a threat where a stalker doesn't even need a physical key to completely destroy your life.
Part 4. The Digital Stalker, or the Unseen Threat.
Now, this case of a Temple University student is a perfect example of the modern digital domino effect. She goes through a messy breakup with a guy named Ben. Ben, out of pure spite, goes on to an anonymous online forum and posts her private contact info. That is literally all it takes. Anonymous forum users use that one breadcrumb to guess her passwords, they hijack her university email, then her Snapchat, and eventually get their hands on highly sensitive private photos for blackmail.
But get this, before the blackmail even begins, the hacker decides to totally ruin her academic life. She had just finished this massive video editing project and emailed it to her professor at midnight, but the hacker was already lurking inside her email. They secretly swapped the file. So the next day, the professor plays her video for the whole class, and instead of her project, it's this grainy video of someone in a scream mask just spewing horrific, disgusting insults about her, the professor, and the government. She just had to sit there, completely frozen in utter humiliation.
It's important to compare these two threats. The police investigated and actually cleared her ex-boyfriend, Ben. Sure, he was incredibly negligent and honestly stupid with her info online, but he was physically harmless. The anonymous forum hacker, though, they are actively malicious, they hold incredibly sensitive photos, and because they operate completely anonymously online, they are totally untraceable by local authorities.
So the crucial point here is the number one, just one. She used one single, easy-to-guess password for absolutely everything. And that single point of failure handed a completely anonymous stranger the master key to her academic email, her private Snapchat, and essentially her entire reputation.
And the terror crosses from the digital realm right into the physical world so fast. The anonymous blackmailer starts adding her repeatedly on new Snapchat accounts, sending her her own private photos. She actually starts hearing footsteps outside her second-floor window at night. Because they had access to her accounts, they knew her exact address. The unseen threat was suddenly standing right outside her window.
Part 5. Lessons in Personal Safety and Securing Your Life.
Look, these aren't just scary stories for the sake of it. They show us exactly where our everyday defenses are the weakest. Let's summarize the big takeaways here. First, trust your gut in weird situations. If people have matching marks drawn on their necks and the vibe is completely off, don't wait around to find out why. Just leave. Second, physically secure your keys and demand immediate action from property management if they're ever compromised. And above all else, isolate your digital accounts. Never, ever reuse simple passwords, because a breach on one platform can instantly compromise your whole life.
As the Temple University student warned others afterward, be incredibly careful about what kind of private data or pictures are on your phone, because once that information is out there in the hands of an anonymous stranger, there is often very little the police can actually do to pull it back. It can be weaponized against you in an instant.
I really want to leave you with this provocative question to ponder about your own security footprint. Just look at the devices around you right now and ask yourself honestly, if someone breached them today, how much of your life would a stranger control tomorrow? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes open, go update your passwords, and stay safe out there.